As we're celebrating our 50th anniversary and going through a very deep strategic planning process, our organization made the exciting decision to go Bronx-wide and to merge with our sister organization, the Bronx Cooperative Development Initiative. Over the past several years, our members have been invited into different neighborhoods across the borough, have led workshops in those spaces, and today, folks from across the Bronx are leaders in our campaigns. And so I think they're at the forefront of this decision and really challenging staff and our board to think about how we might consider that in a real way. The Bronx is made up of 1.5 million people. If we're really serious about transforming the systems that actually are impacting people in our own neighborhoods, we have to look at a greater scale.
I'm really excited that Northwest Bronx and BCDI, this merger is bringing birth to an organization that's really centering, organizing, right? The collective action piece, planning, right? Long-term systems change and economic development, the value creation part of it, and institutionalizing that in the Bronx is huge.
We have the potential of leaving the Bronx in a better way than where we got it from. The Bronx is not burning no more. The Bronx is booming.
And it's important to do hyper-local work and to really focus on things that are happening in the community. But there's this big systemic problem of poverty that's shared across the Bronx, and that if we don't work together and support each other, we're always gonna be in this like hamster wheel fighting back, and we're never gonna actually enjoy the successes. We recognize that the federal government is investing all this money into climate and environmental justice because of campaigns that we have led, but who actually gets to design it then? Who actually gets to stay and own it then? Imagine if these millions and millions of dollars actually shift the economy in the way that we've been dreaming of for the last however many years. We gotta do something different. We can't just fight back, we gotta fight forward.
No matter how good some organizing efforts were, like you go back and the same issues will persist, or people were just displaced already because people couldn't afford the rent already. We can have organized tenants and we can have a strong partnership with elected officials, but we're still at the mercy of private investment and government bureaucracy. We need to change who are the folks who have control of the assets that impact our lives. We have already done work with HDFCs like 664, 672 Beck Street in the South Bronx, and already a lot of other HDFCs have reached out to us because of the work we did there.
Living in the Northeast Bronx, we really care that people have access to good education, housing, and it's equitable. The Northwest Bronx expanding Bronx-wide, just the incredible opportunities that are around the Bronx for the strong advocacy and organizing and civic engagement, it's countless.
If we wanted to really work on economic development and wealth creation and job creation, well, in the Northwest Bronx, something like 95% of the land is zoned for housing. How much can we do around really serious economic needs that people have if we're only focused in the Northwest Bronx? South Bronx, rezoning questions around industrial land and what's going to happen to the manufacturing base. The question was, can we see our interest in coming together and building something more powerful?
The whole Kingsbridge Armory campaign, I mean, what Northwest Bronx was able to do was incredibly new and so vision and forward thinking for a community organization to throw in the hat and say, we're gonna develop this with our people, with our partners, with labor. Again, I just have not seen that happen, and it's something that I think is incredibly valuable, and it's a great lesson for all of us. We've had wins, we've had losses, but the biggest win that we have is this trust that we're building.
Hearing the Northwest Bronx, and I think hearing labor say we stand in strong solidarity with our community partners, and hear our community partners say we stand in strong solidarity with unions who are our community partners. I think that was pretty amazing. The labor movement has never been able to thrive alone. The labor movement is a part of communities, and it has been an integral part of the way in which members participate in their communities.
Because of the way that Northwest Bronx and that the Bronx-wide Coalition has done their work so far and our work so far, I'm confident no matter how challenging the process is, is going to lead us to really recognizing where the root causes of the problems come from. Hunts Point can't just fight for Hunts Point. We need the whole Bronx to fight for Hunts Point. Northwest Bronx can't just fight for the Armory. The whole Bronx has to fight for the Armory.
I think one of the things about being 50 years old as a community organization is it's a testimony to the survival of the organization itself. But I think it also shows that there's no quick way to fix anything, and that organizations and people have to mature through experience, through sharing, through successes, through failures, to reach a higher level. We have to be sensitive about each community that we work in, and there has to be grassroots work in every community, and that has to be respected. Sharing what we know and listening to what people need and exchanging skills and experiences and building in the pockets. An organization is a tool. A union is a tool. It's the people that make change.
It's interesting to see how the Northwest Bronx evolved from tenant organizing to block organizing to Bronx-wide to citywide to going down to Washington. Every decade have had their own challenges, but it's an organization that's actually time. And the fact that there's always strength in numbers, looking Bronx-wide is the next logical move for the next decade.
The Bronx also being a place that regionally is so important for the metropolitan region that will have such a capacitated, strategically placed organization focused on collective governance and collective ownership in a place majority people of color tells me that at the end of those 10 years, we might be in a position to offer some lessons and ideas for the rest of this country on how to prepare and lead well.
Going Bronx-wide is a recognition that our borough requires deeper coordination, deeper planning, deeper collaboration, and requires deeper investment. In this particular moment, that gentrification displacement pressures are at the highest they've ever been, and imagining what a borough-wide capacity with planning and organizing and development in collaboration and real partnership with sister organizations and other stakeholders across the borough, that is incredibly exciting and incredibly powerful. I think that's what the borough needs in this moment to ensure that we are going to be able not just to stay in place, but also to thrive for decades to come.